Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. In this video I'm gonna show you how I've shot this promotional video commercial for Decathlon Germany. Coming up. Hi guys, my name is Paul, I'm a German filmmaker and this channel is all about filmmaking, gear reviews, but also DaVinci Resolve tutorials. So if that's something that you're interested in, consider subscribe, I would really appreciate that. Thank you. So as I've said, in this video we are talking about the promotional video or commercial that I did for Decathlon. Basically how this came together was that I've already shot a bunch of videos for clients like Adidas and something like that in the sports industry. And therefore I always say it's very important that you have a personal network. So I had a friend working for Decathlon and he proposed them my service, and then the headquarter was looking over my portfolio and they were really impressed about the work that I already done. And so that came together that they hired me to shoot the promotional video for the biggest store that they've opened here in Germany. By the way, in my full online course Filmemacher Pro, which is only in German available, this is actually part of it. So I have a full job shadow on there, as well as many other job shadows. And yeah, if you want to learn more about it, I will link it for you down below. So let's gonna take a look right here on these shots. So the first shot that you see is basically the push in. I always want to start with a wide shot, so like an establishing shot that the audience gets an idea of where we are. So, and it was maybe like the bigger picture to see camera is pushing in. So here it's like blue hour, and there we have this nice color contrast between the orange light inside and the blue light outside. And I basically did a simple push in where there's no people. And then I've did the same in the next upcoming hour for these shots here, because there nobody is visible there, nobody is working, carrying stuff around. So that was all shot here on the second day, very early before everybody was basically arriving. And I've shot all these like establishing shots of the location to show out the entire location and how basically big it is, because it is really big. So basically just hump over to the equipment I was using. Because this is a run and gun style shooting scenario, I like to use a mirrorless camera. So in this one I've used my Canon EOS R6. And I've shot basically 90% of all that with my Tamron 24-70 G2, which is a stabilized lens, and it also has a permanent aperture of 2.8. So I figured, yeah, baby, it's always the quickest way to use the mirrorless camera, and when you know what you're doing, you can make great images out of that. So what I did basically here, because I like to use the glide cam, I'm not personally a big fan of a gimbal because I think the glide cam gives more natural movement. I had a second shooter with me. He's from my online course as well. I was giving him an R5 that I got from Canon for testing, so that was a perfect match. And yeah, that's always what I'm doing when I have jobs that I need a second shooter or I can't take them on my own. I always drop them in my course, and then the students of my course can take them over. So that's great benefit there. So, and here basically what I'm always like using is like this from Sigma. You get this little bag when you buy a lens from there, and there inside I carry the most important things. So like the camera strap when I want to go handheld, or like the color checker, or maybe like an ND filter or something like that. So little stuff there which can come in handy, and I always have it mounted basically to my belt. And first of all, when you want to be inside and you have mixed color temperatures, I always use an app which is called Light Spectrum Pro. You can download, I think it costs like $5 to $6. I'm not sure what it is in US, but that gives you a really nice representation of what the color temperature is of each light, so that I can set my correct white balance in there, which is really important actually. So yeah, you're just seeing that I'm pointing it at some sources, and here we also have some mixed light of these tubes here and the natural light coming from oval in. The exposure, how I dial in my exposure, I always like to use the histogram on the camera, that I'm seeing that I'm not clipping or not crushing anything, so it stays nice and safe in the middle. And that's basically it. So some inside shots here, you see me basically talking about what products that they have, and it's always help you to do some research, because Decathlon, they always have some own brands which you can only buy at Decathlon. So here I was mainly focusing on the brands that they have, which is called, I think it's Kichua, and I made some little pans here and there to make some close-ups and all that kind of stuff. So you see that I'm moving with the glide cam very slowly, basically moving my hip to get a really nice shot. Then I also did a little bit of variation where I was going there. At the event you have some kind of side events, so and you will basically want to make sure that you capture everything, especially in this run and gun style scenario. You need to be very fast and efficient. And here they had like this, I don't know what it's called, ping pong table where the clients can play. Also make sure when you're shooting kind of that you have like an information at the entrance that tells everybody that there are cameras rolling for capturing photos and videos, which will be posted on. So it can be really tricky for personal rights and stuff, but I have plenty of templates that you can share with your client, or that you can use for your own projects inside my course as well. So that really helps for that, even though it's not 100% secure, especially here in Germany, but it definitely helps that people are aware that there's somebody maybe capturing them. So in here I was just using some shots going around, and basically I always want to make sure that I have coverage, so to say. So first I always gonna try to shoot it in wide, and then afterwards I just zoom in a little bit to change the focal length. So then here, there I asked a worker of Decathlon if he can just use the basketball and make some throws in there. So that's pretty cool when you have people that are working there and they're also basically interested that there's good video outcomes. So I asked him, hey, can you just make them to make it a little bit more attracting there, because at that time there was not many people there. So always when you work or when you have the client and there somebody workers there, just ask them if they want to do that, and you can just basically guide them and direct them a little bit. So there was another side event. They had a really small ping pong table where a worker of Decathlon played against a client or a visitor of the shop, and I also captured that. Yeah, and here basically I did the same as before. first capturing a wide shot and then maybe moving to a closer shot. So I always want to make sure. So here I'm at a closer shot and try to get as much as possible, and therefore I really like the Canon, or basically you can also use Sony, whatever, but the autofocus on there is really great. Then I want to also make sure that I shoot something where there's an interaction between a visitor and the people working for Decathlon, that they kind of consult the people what they should take care of when they want to buy something. So I also wanted to show that. So and here I basically catch them where she is kind of consulting her for buying a tent, and she's basically testing that and going inside. So here I basically do the same like always, first with the glide cam, getting some wide shots, then getting some tighter shots. Also kind of moving with them here a little bit closer, and I try to have her in center of the frame, or basically that she's visible. And then what I also like to do is, because when you do like gimbal shots, they always kind of look the same, right? So I switched basically very fast to handheld mode, and I've shot handheld. That's really great that I also have a stabilized lens, and also the camera has in-body stabilization to counteract my little shaky movements. And this way I'm very flexible and very fast, so I try to get as much angles possible. Here I basically saying what I'm doing is basically to get an extra step of stabilization. Therefore I used the camera belt, and then I just clip them onto the side, and then when I push it straight forward I have an extra step of stabilization. That is really helpful, because when I push it, it basically is tight, and that also kinds of avoids little shakes. So if you don't have a camera which has a stabilized sensor, so if you do something like that, that's really great and helps to keep your footage nice and steady. So and then basically at the end I'm showing here a little bit of my coverage. So what I've already said is that I want to have like especially a variation of shots, because at the end of the day, when you are in the editing and every shot looks like wide angle-ish, it kind of looks the same and it's not really interesting. So here on this helmet shelf I show which kinds of shots I'm using. So here I'm using a push in, and it's a wide shot, and then I basically do the same for basically another shot, like here a little bit of low angle, and I use the tire to make the image more three-dimensional. That also is kind of a variation of that first shot, so not always have a variation in the edit, it's really important. So I have these shots right here that I moved really closer in, all the way to 70 to have it even closer. So I have these three shots, then I do another close-up with my hands, just showing one line of these helmets here especially, and then also from the bottom to do a little pan. So that way from the same scene actually I have like 6 different shots, which really helps me when I'm in the edit. I can pick the one that mostly fits the style of the video what I'm going for. And that's basically it. As I've said, I always shot it on a Canon EOS R6, especially for run and gun scenarios where you need to be really fast and efficient. So as I've said, that was it. If you have any further questions, just drop them down in the comments below, and I'm gonna see you in my very next video, guys. Cheers!